All right, so today we're diving into OpenAI's new model, GPT 5.3 Codex-Spark. Now, this isn't just some minor update. It's promising a really fundamental shift in how developers can work with AI. And you know what? It all boils down to one simple but totally game-changing factor: speed. So let's break down what that really means. But before we get into all the tech specs, I want to start with a feeling. It's something every single developer listening knows deep in their bones. What is the one thing that just kills that creative, productive flow state? It's this: just the waiting, that little pause. That moment of latency between asking your AI assistant for some code and actually getting the answer. It's the gap where a great idea can just, poof, fizzle out. And that right there brings us to our first big idea, this problem of the code flow breaker. Okay, picture this. You're deep in the zone, right? Your fingers are just flying across the keyboard. You're building something amazing, and you hit a tiny little snag. So you ask your AI coding partner for a quick refactor. And then you wait. And even if it's just a few seconds, that's enough. It completely shatters your concentration. It turns what should be this fluid conversation into this frustrating stop and start mess. Well, OpenAI is basically aiming to make that waiting time extinct. So it's time to meet Codex-Spark. So what is this thing exactly? Well, Codex-Spark is a specialized, kind of stripped-down version of the main Codex model. It's built for one thing, and one thing only: to be unbelievably fast. The whole point is to finally enable a truly real-time interactive partnership between you and the AI. And when I say fast, I mean fast. We're talking over 1,000 tokens, pieces of words or code, every single second. That number basically translates into feeling like it's instantaneous. The code just appears on your screen almost as fast as you can think it. So what does all this speed actually let you do? Well, it's not for those huge, complex, let the AI run for an hour tasks. Nope. This is for the here and now. It's for making those little targeted edits, reshaping a bit of logic, or tweaking a UI element, and seeing the result, bam, right away. The main goal here is to keep you, the developer, in that priceless state of creative flow. Okay, but how in the world did they pull this off? How did they get this kind of performance? Well, that brings us to the engine of all of this speed. Now, this massive leap in performance, it isn't just some clever software trick or a bit of optimization. This is a much deeper innovation. It goes all the way down to the silicon the model runs on and the entire data pipeline from end to end. At the very heart of this is a fundamental shift in hardware. You see, while GPUs are the workhorses for training models and for general-purpose AI tasks, Codex-Spark runs on super specialized hardware from a company called Cerebras. These things are purpose-built AI accelerators designed from the ground up for workflows that demand the absolute lowest latency you could possibly get. And as Sean Lai, the CTO of Cerebras, puts it, the real excitement isn't just the raw speed itself, but what that speed unlocks. It literally opens the door to entirely new ways of interacting with AI, creating a completely different and, frankly, a much better user experience. And it wasn't just about the chip. OpenAI re-engineered the whole pipeline. They set up a persistent WebSocket connection, which slashed the round-trip overhead by a massive 80%. They cut the per-token overhead by 30%, and, this is a big one, they reduced the time it takes to get that very first token by 50%. These are all those little optimizations that together add up to a huge improvement in how it feels to use it. So, okay, it's fast. Incredibly, ridiculously fast. But that leads us to maybe the most important question of all. Is it still smart? Let's take a look at whether this model is just fast or if it's fast and capable. I mean, this is the classic trade-off, isn't it? You make something smaller and faster, and you just assume it's going to take a big hit in capability. So the big question is, does Codex-Spark sacrifice smarts for all that speed? Well, the data from the SWE Bench Pro benchmark really tells the story here. Look at this, the full, giant GPT 5.3 Codex model. It's the most accurate at 60%, sure, but it takes about 16 minutes to run the test. Now look at Codex-Spark. It's just a little behind at 55% accuracy, but it finishes the whole thing in around 2 minutes. That is a massive, massive speed up for a tiny little drop in accuracy. And we see a really similar pattern over on the Terminal Bench 2.0 test. The full model, yeah, it leads at over 77% accuracy, but Codex-Spark at over 58% isn't just highly keepable, it's a huge leap over the previous small model, which was down at 46%. So the takeaway is pretty clear. You're getting this enormous boost in speed for a pretty modest trade-off in peak accuracy. And all of this brings us to the bigger picture, because this isn't really just about one fast model. It's about creating a whole new kind of conversation you can have while coding. You see, Codex-Spark isn't here to replace the big, powerful Codex model, not at all. Think of it as the first half of a new two-part system that's designed to give developers the absolute best of both worlds. And this right here is the vision. In the future, you'll have Spark for that real-time interactive loop, for all the quick edits and the rapid-fire brainstorming. And then you'll have the full Codex model ready for those big, complex tasks that need deep, long-horizon reasoning. Now, the ultimate goal is for these two modes to just blend together seamlessly. Imagine being able to stay in that fast, tight, interactive loop with Spark, while at the same time delegating the really heavy lifting to the larger Codex model humming away in the background. You'd get instant feedback and powerful, long-term reasoning all in one single workflow. And this really leaves us with one final thought. For a long time, the bottleneck in making software has been the capability of our tools. But that's shifting. Now it's becoming the speed of our interaction with them. So the real question that Codex-Spark is asking all of us is this. If your AI partner could finally, truly keep up with your imagination, what would you create?